HELOC, specifically a HELOC, and how to fully leverage a HELOC depending on your situation.
Using a home equity line of credit, whether first position or second position, to be able to put yourself in a position to where you can increase your cash flow and ultimately use that cash flow to do other things. And what I love about this example is he had some specific things that he wanted to do. So he wanted to make sure that, one, this was the right vehicle and it was structured in the right way so that he could take those actions. And then the piece after that was, I'm not really ready for retirement. I mean, I got a 401k, but I haven't been with this company very long, and I really don't have what's necessary for me to be able to retire in traditional retirement age. Once I get this HELOC and once I take care of the things that I'm wanting to do, I also want to focus on generating wealth. What that starts is the conversation around, well, what are you doing today? And if the goal is to generate wealth, what does that number look like in the future? What is it that you're trying to hit? Nick's 42 years of age. He's got cash flow of about $1,800. So regardless of what his income is, he's got cash flow, which is significant. Cash flow of $1,800. He's got a HELOC that he's already been approved for $100,000. Now he's got his current home. The original price for the home is $306. It's worth about $425 now. He only owes $175 on it. And as it relates to where he is in that amortization schedule, he's at 16 years. And what's the objective? What's the goal? His objective is to take this $100,000 HELOC and put it to work. He wants to take a portion of it and take care of or rehab his kitchen and bathroom. And that remaining, his objective is to kind of introduce himself into the real estate space, because he realizes at 42 years of age and not fully having a retirement in place, there's an opportunity to pick up some pretty cheap rental properties and maybe even Section 8 them and do this, rinse and repeat, do this over and over and over again. We went down this path of, okay, what would it look like if we just followed through with what Nick wanted to do? And that is do exactly what was asked. Put that $50,000 to work to get that first rental property. Well, once we get the first one, what do we do after that? Well, at some point, we'll be in a position to be able to either leverage that first rental to pick up enough residual income over time to be able to put ourselves in a position to be able to get another property, or as we start creating room or leveraging the $50,000 in the form of some type of line of credit, and use that to then get the next property. But ultimately, follow this process over and over and over again to be able to get to our goal, which is generating enough retirement income or residual income to be able to replace our current income. How about we first focus on what is that income that we're shooting for? When we first started having this conversation, that wasn't, I'll call it, a part of the process. It wasn't, hey, I need 46 rental properties in order to achieve my income. It was more of a, hey, I'm going to start with one property and continue to build upon that. And so when you truly look at his plan, it actually looked more like this, which is, hey, I've got this one rental property. I'm creating this passive income. And as we move through this process, we pick up another vehicle and we use the residual income between these two vehicles, then pick up our third vehicle, and it just continues on and on and on. It becomes a linear approach to accomplish the goal, but still, what is the true goal? Is the true goal a dollar amount? Is the true goal number of properties? Like, what is the true goal? The true goal is income. The true goal is being able to replace the income that I have. I don't want to work forever. Well, if you got 30, 40 rental properties that are producing for you, $8.99, which, once you take out taxes, insurance, any maintenance issues, this number is probably more like $5.99 maybe. If we were to use a base of, let's say, $5.99 per property, if I borrowed $50,000 from my HELOC and I use this $50,000 to purchase these properties, how long does it take for that $5.99 in cash flow to pay back or pay for that HELOC? Meaning, how many times can I reuse this dollar amount to be able to buy more properties? $5.99 times 12, which is how much you're paying within a year. And you take that $50,000 divided by 71.88, it ends up being about 6.9. So what that's saying is somewhere between 6 and 7 years is the amount of time that it would take for that $50,000 to be paid off if you were just using the income being generated. But again, here's what we know. We know he also has cash flow. This is $5.99 or whatever that number might be in addition to his cash flow. So clearly he can put himself in a position to where he can do this multiple times within a 10-year period to be able to pick up more properties. What's the true goal though? If the true goal is income and I'm 42 years old, how much time do I have? How many properties do I need to pick up in order to be able to replace my income? Replace the cash flow of $1,800 a month. If that's my cash flow and all of the bills are paid, how long will it take to just simply replace that? It's a significant amount of time is what it boils down to. when we are trying to identify, what are those true influential factors related to identifying what that goal might be. Down at the bottom, it says time. Time is one of the, if not the largest factor as it relates to identifying what that goal should be and where it is we're trying to get to. How much time do you have? How many compound cycles are left within this process of you being able to achieve income? Available deals. What we're talking about is picking up properties worth $50,000 and putting renters in it, rehabbing, doing whatever you need to do to be able to achieve that income. Dependable leverage. Using this scenario and when Knick is picking up these properties, let's apply this same thought process in, let's call it 2007. In 2007, picking up all these properties, and then the 2008 crash hits. And you are over leveraged because you've got a HELOC on 3, 4, 5 properties, and you're using that leverage to go pick up more properties. But in the process, the bottom just fell. So one, banks aren't giving you any leverage. They're calling your HELOCs due. Like, there's all sorts of factors and variables here that dependable leverage piece is very, very important on how you're using this leverage, where it is, and making sure you're putting yourself in a position to where you're not over leveraged. And for me, it's the many ways to 10 as well, meaning this absolutely is a viable path to be able to hit your goal. But is it the only way? Is there a more efficient way? That time factor is so important here. What needs to happen within this time frame in order for you to be able to hit your goal? And that may determine whether or not the steps that you take to get there need to be altered or not, need to be adjusted. So the first option was, okay, we've got this $100,000 HELOC already in place. The objective is to take half of that $50,000 and go rehab your kitchen, rehab the bathroom. My first question was just simply, why? What is the point? What is the purpose? What is accomplished? Who wins? What he stated was, hey, me and my wife want to travel. We don't want to work for the rest of our life. And so what I asked was, how does rehabbing that bathroom and that kitchen help you travel? Like, how does it help you get to your goal? Is that $50,000 better served somewhere else? And he goes, what do you mean? Well, if the objective is to pay down the home, if the objective is to put the home in a better place so that you can leverage the money that's in it, then why not put the home in a better place so you can leverage what's in it? Why not create more space, create more cash flow, and still be able to accomplish your goal of rehabbing the kitchen if you want? And then in addition, I get it, the BRRRR method, buying properties. How much is that property again? What is it going to yield you in return when you buy that property and you put that renter in it and they're paying whatever that monthly amount is? Maybe there's an opportunity to achieve that $899 out of your own home. And so the thought process was, okay, we take this $100,000 HELOC and we still split it, but what if we take $50,000 of it and dump it right into the mortgage? He's got a $175,000 mortgage. The mortgage payment on that home is about $1,816. So if we just simply take $50,000 from this HELOC and immediately just simply dump it right into the principal of the home, that changes that $175,000 down to $125,000. What's accomplished if you do that? To understand what that would look like, we have to look at the mortgage calculator. The original purchase for the home was $306,000 for 30 years at 3.25%. And so in looking at the amortization schedule, and we go to year 16, if he owes $175,000, so we are pretty much right where we should be on the amortization schedule. He's got $306,000 home that he's been paying on. He currently owes $175,000. What if we take that $50,000, dump it onto the balance of the home, which means that $175,000 that he owes ends up looking more like $125,000. It puts him here in the amortization schedule. So if that's the case, then what would it look like if we were to replace that 306 with the 125, recast this mortgage at not 30 years, but we want to leave it at the year 16 where his current mortgage is currently sitting at 16. What does that look like? Roughly $1,000, 1033. Had a $175,000 mortgage, put $50,000 on it, drops the balance down to $125, recast the mortgage at $125, it would drop that mortgage payment from $1,816 down to about $1,000. So what does that mean? We just picked up $800 in cash flow and we didn't have to deal with tenants, toilets, and trash. We just accomplished the exact same goal using or leveraging our current home less work. We picked up about $1,816 in cash flow. So what do we do with it? Then we come over here and we take that second $50,000 and we dump it into a secure compound interest account. So again, 42 years of age. The reason I'm using 42 to 52 is, in most cases, the draw on a line of credit is 10 years. So my challenge to him was, how many homes can you pick up within that 10-year period for that $50,000 HELOC compared to what can that same $50,000 do inside of a secure compound interest account during that same 10-year period? Let's compare the two. If it takes 5.9 years to be able to pay off a home using that $866 from the rental property, property, how many properties could you pick up within that 10-year span? And if he didn't want a mortgage, it would be a challenge. But he could actually pick up a fair amount, a large number of these properties if he had a mortgage on each of them. But now you're kind of over leveraging yourself. So it just really depends on what your goal is and what actions you want to take. Because again, the BRRRR method does work. But in my case, what I want to do, since your cash flow is $1,800, how about we take $500 of that and put it into a secure compound interest account, and then we get that other $50,000 working for you. 52 to age 42, $50,000 in a secure compound interest account plus $500 of your cash flow. What does that look like? What that says is over that 10-year period, he would have, if he wanted, $20,000 in tax-free income. But this is the number that I was more concerned with. Over that 10-year period, he would have liquid cash of around $180,000. He started with 50. In 10 years, that $500 ultimately turned into about $180,000 of liquidity. How many properties would he need to have the same? And when I say liquid, I mean accessible by debit card. Not sitting under a mortgage, but accessible by debit card. How many properties would he have to have in order to achieve that dollar amount? We picked up $816 in cash flow. The reason I used $500, if I take $500 out of this number, leaves me with about $1,300. I've got the $1,300 left over plus the $816. If I combine these two dollar amounts, how long would it take for me to pay off that HELOC? $50,000 divided by approximately 22 grand is about 2 years and 2 months. It's within a 10-year period. Not only do I have a vehicle that gave me $180,000, I have that $50,000 free and clear in 2 years and 2 months. So what else could be done with that home equity line of credit, whether it's in this vehicle, whether it's to rehab the kitchen and the bathroom? Like, you have many options available to you. Why? Because you put this money to work, because you got this money working for you. And where are the tenants, toilets, and trash? There aren't any. The second option was, what if we simply take that $100,000 and put it all to work? Take all 100 of it and dump it into a secure compound interest account. What would happen if we do that? And yeah, I'm going to still take $500 a month out of my cash flow and get that compounding as well. So what would that look like inside of a secure compound interest vehicle if I did that? Again, looking at the same 10 years. So I'm going to take all 100,000 and that same $500 a month, and I'm going to put it to work. So how about $32,000 in tax-free income? And again, same 10-year period. I've got $273,000 in liquidities, $273,000 in cash value, and about $32,500 in income that I'm able to take in a 10-year span. Again, no tenants, no toilets, no trash. And as it relates to the HELOC, so I didn't recast the mortgage, so the mortgage payment is still the same, and I have a HELOC payment. So how long would it take for my cash flow of $1,300, because I used $500 of my cash flow and put it to work? So if I have $1,300 in cash flow, how long does it take for that $1,300 to pay off the $100,000? So 1,300 times 12 is 15.6. So how many 15.6s would it take to pay off $100,000? So $100,000 divided by 15.6, we're talking 6.4 years. So again, HELOC, 10-year draw. If we do this right, just using our cash flow, using velocity banking to pay off the line of credit. And from a velocity banking perspective, what do I mean? Once all income goes onto the HELOC, I'm going to use the cash flow that's left over to bring this balance down. And in doing so, it would take me about 7 years to pay it back. But look at the vehicle that I created in the process. I've got an asset with cash value of about $272,000. I have a death benefit initially of about $1.6 million, but God forbid something happened to me at that 10-year mark. I'm passing on $2.5 million to my beneficiaries. Nick's perspective on this was, well, the whole purpose for this BRRRR method, these properties, was I'm creating a legacy to be able to leave to my kids. Well, how many properties would it take to leave a legacy of $2.5 million? And again, just reiterating option one. Option one was, hey, I've got this $100,000 HELOC. I put $50,000 on it, recast the mortgage. I'm going to free up some cash flow, and I'm going to put money to work. So once that's done, as I'm going through that process, and what I kind of showed was in that 10-year period, what was accomplished. So as I'm doing this process, does that mean that there's not a rental property in my future? If you remember the math, it took a very short period of time to be able to pay back that HELOC, which means once that HELOC is open, there's an opportunity to put it to work. So whether that's put it to work in picking up a property, or it's putting it to work as in dumping more inside of your secure compound interest account. Again, I don't know that there's any wrong answers there, but it's putting yourself in a position to where you have more options. This is not a linear process. It's not this, then that. It's this and that. As I put my money to work, can I leverage this cash value inside of my policy to pick up another property? In addition to into the equity in the home? And then how quickly does that allow me to be able to achieve tax-free income out of this vehicle to ultimately hit that goal as to being able to put myself in a position to fire my job,
Right.
being able to put myself in a position to where, you know what, I don't have to worry about being 65, 72 to be able to retire. Maybe I can retire at 55. There are many ways to 10, right?
Right.
Like option 1 and option 2 are not the only option. So in this one, this was, hey, I'm going to dump all of that HELOC into a secure compound interest producing vehicle and use the cash flow that's left over to be able to pay it off. But in doing that, what does that allow me to do? Like, what am I now placed in a position to be able to accomplish if that were to happen? If this, then that, or when I do this, then maybe leverage my MPI policy to be able to do something different. But the truth is, does this not put me in a position to where you can kind of bypass some of these other strategies or some of these other processes, and almost like the shoots and ladders game, and shoot yourself down to a different spot on this game board to be able to ultimately get there faster? Put yourself in a position to where, yes, I can leverage that $100,000 HELOC, dump it into a secure compound interest producing vehicle, create cash value that will allow me to produce as many properties as I want, produce that BRRRR method, rinse and repeat, and even use the monthly residual income coming from these rental properties to also fund the secure compound interest account. Like, there's so many different angles here that we intentionally did not go down. But the point is, there are many ways to accomplish this goal. There is not just one action.